All right, we're going to start the March the 16th meeting. We'll have the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance will be by Commissioner Brinson, then we'll have the roll call. Everybody please stand. Our Father, we come tonight to start our bi-weekly meeting for the city of Ocoee. We ask you to watch over us as we do the duties that we need to for our citizens and for the city of Ocoee. We ask you to please watch over our first responders as they're out every day in harm's way. We ask you to ask the Lord, will please watch over our COVID as we begin to get a little better with the COVID factor. But let's ask, and please ask everybody to be safe and keep praying that we can get out of the COVID and move forward. In your name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brinson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
I'll read this public comment announcement here. City Hall is open to the public. However, attendance inside the Ocoee Commission chambers may be limited to accommodate social distancing and is subject to the governor's executive orders. Any interested party may be heard during the public comments and public hearing portion of the meeting. In order to participate remotely, members of the public should call 407-554-7118 or email citizens@ocoee.org in advance and indicate the item you would like to address. At the appropriate time during the meeting, city staff will contact you via phone and patch you into the meetings where you can share your comments and/or questions. Comments and questions received via email will become public records and provided to the city commissioners in advance of the meetings. All right, just real quick, we're going to do the swearing in of the new commissioners at the end of the meeting, right, Scott?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. All right. Okey doke. All right. No presentations or proclamations. Staff reports.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right. Commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Oliver.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Firstner.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Wilson.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Brinson.
Nothing at this time.
All right. Announcements. Glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt is Friday, April the 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Jim Beach Recreation Center. Registration is required. Ages 5 to 7 start at 7:45 p.m. and ages 8 to 12 start at 8:15 p.m. Visit the city's webpage to register. Easter Egg Extravaganza is Saturday, April the 3rd, starting at 10 a.m. at the Jim Beach Recreation Center. Infants to 6 years old start at 10:30 a.m. and ages 7 to 12 start at 12. Bring your basket. All right, public comments. This is the ones that are not part of the meeting. So I think we got a couple here. I don't know what. Mr. Bailey? Hope Bailey?
No,
And what are you asking to do? Do you want to make a presentation?
no, I got something else to say, but I want also a presentation for like a future meeting, not for tonight, just for how do I go about doing that for a future meeting.
Well, come on up and tell us what you want, because it's not on the agenda, so.
Hope Bellamy, 1704 Adair Street. It's two-part. The first part was a presentation to Ocoee. As you know, I'm a new resident here in Ocoee. My company just became the #1 tech company in the world. Like if you Google our tech company, we're #1 right now. And we're looking at bringing the office here to Ocoee. So I am looking for a property in Ocoee to bring in a technology center here for the community to teach them different forms of tech with the sponsors and things like that behind me. So I want to, give the presentation to the city of Ocoee to give them a little more information and give y'all some information on the company and see the competition we just won around the world. Like I said, I'm here in Ocoee, so I want to bring the office here to Ocoee, not run to Orlando like everybody else runs to Orlando for technology. I want to be able to be a key factor with bringing Ocoee up in Orange County. You know what I mean? So I'm ready to rock and roll with that. And the second part is that I'm part of what is called the RAC committee, and we're working on vaccines distribution for different communities here in the state of Florida. And for the last 2 weeks, I have been looking on the list, and I have seen them from Ocoee to say that they're a part of this vaccine locations that they putting all through Orange County, and even on the news, it doesn't highlight Ocoee as having a location to the residents. It may have one, I don't know, but if they do have one, I think the information is not getting to the public that it needs to get to the public. So if we have one information, I want to help out get it to the public. If we don't have one, I'm quite sure I can help bring in centers somewhere in Ocoee for Ocoee residents. Yes, we're getting laxed on it, but at the same time, there are people that do want to get vaccinated, and I think that we should bring something close by for them. And that was it.
Okay, thank you. Is the fire chief here? Anybody?
I believe he's out of town, Mayor.
So do they not have some of the, at the firehouse for that?
No, I don't think we have a site in the city. What I would suggest is,
Hospital.
well, if there's some interest from the state, the county, or the feds in doing something here, tell them the city would most likely be willing to partner with them, and we would just need to know how long and what type of facility they need.
We just had one at Ocoee High School this weekend, and it was very successful, and I'm sure that shouldn't be a problem to ask the county to duplicate that. So that may be something we can ask the county to do, if they can just
Or the state
duplicate
or
what
the
they've already
feds,
done.
too.
All right. Miles McRain. Miles.
Hello, thank you for the time to address the council and the city of Ocoee. My name is Miles Moraine. I'm an Orange County resident and a frequent visitor of Ocoee and supporter of a lot of things here. I'm speaking on behalf of people that I've worked with here and people that I know in the neighborhood in the recent incident that took place, in the last week on Clear Corner Ocoee and Gaymore Drive. So my main purpose of speaking today to address the council was to kind of emphasize how the community is feeling overall, not only about the recent loss that claimed 5 lives, but about the losses that's taken place in the last couple of years. And not only to just visit what's taking place on Clear Corner Ocoee and Gaymore Drive, but also to visit other intersections that people have addressed and said that could be fixed alongside Clear Corner Ocoee. I know that these are processes that take place. There are certain things in works. What we're trying to see is just a more emphasis and kind of just a rush on it. There are people out every day, even as we speak, still going through that same intersection who may not have watched the news, who may not have known about the recent events, and that's how we end up in the same place we're at. We know as a council, we've seen people like Commissioner Oliver come out and address certain issues out there and just let us know that there are things in the works. And I understand that y'all doing your part, but we need just an emphasis and a rush on it. I know that we'll have other speakers speaking on it, and I know residents of Ocoee that we have worked with who also told us that there's a certain incidents that they have been aware of. This has been going on for years, and we just want to see what we can do. What does the community need to do to help it work? Do we need to crowdfund? Do we need to go and get a certain number of signatures? Or what steps are needed to be taken? Let us know the process, and we as the community can do our part so that y'all can make it happen for us. Like I said, 5 lives were just claimed. We have family members who are still dealing with this incident. We had a person who lived right across the street who witnessed this incident, who just lost his girlfriend in January, who told us that this is such a painful thing to revisit, but it's not the first time it's happened. So we just want to just emphasize that and see what we could do to make something happen. Thank you.
All right. Michael Scott.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Michael Scott. I'm an Orange County resident. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. Like my colleague said, Miles Moraine, we are friends of the family of Pastor Anthony Oliver, who lost, both of his daughters and 3 of his grandchildren last week. And I guess the biggest thing that I want to impress upon you is that as elected leaders, you guys have relationships and have information where you're able to expedite things. I fully believe that the stakeholders who are responsible for the maintenance of that particular area will move. I just would like for you in your respective roles to push them to move faster. While we were out there for the vigil on Sunday, I want to say maybe 3, for sure 3, maybe even 4, but for sure 3 almost near accidents. You heard the cars and just, it was like, wow. So much so that we moved the vigil from having it near the crash site to closer up on the grass. And just in that moment, I experienced, how much of a concern it is for, just anyone who's walking or driving in an area. And as Mr. Moraine shared, there was residents who lived there. We weren't able to catch their contact information, but told us how they had seen multiple accidents even beyond this year. So as you, as representatives of the city of Ocoee, communicate with other elected leaders, the county, DOT, whoever are the stakeholders for that area, I'd ask that you impress upon them to not only act, but act expeditiously. I yield the rest of my time to Pastor Anthony Oliver.
Thank you. All right, one more, Anthony Oliver.
To the mayor and to all the commissioners, I am the father and the grandfather of all the kids that was lost on the last Thursday, and I speak for them. I'm heartbroken, but yet I just wish something would be done, because I wouldn't want another father or mother to stand in my shoes to not just lose one child, but I lost all of my kids with my grandkids, and I just would like to see something done with those lighting over there, because I travel over there sometimes to see them, and knowing that it's a bad corner. And I just think something needs to be done sooner than later, because if not, there will be another person standing right here in my shoes pleading for the same thing. I can't get them back. I can't. My 2 oldest daughters and my 3 young ones, my young granddaughter Chloe, I can't get her back, because she was my she was my rock in the church. I don't have nobody to lay their hands on me before I get up and preach like she did, and so I just my prayer is as a father and as a grandfather, I wish that, if you guys would be in my shoes and understand my pain and my grief on what I'm dealing with, concerning that corner over there. And we just need to get something done. We really do. We need to get something done, and like I say, sooner than later, because if not, like Brother Scott was saying, just standing out there, I mean, people just not, either they're not paying attention or they just don't care. And I think some action need to be taken, because, I got to bury 5. It's something to bury 1, that hurts, but I got to bury all 5 of my children, So I'm just praying and hoping that we can get something done about that, at least look into it. I know sometimes they want to, we drag our feet and, be 2-3 years. Now, we need to do something now. Something need to be done now, because if not, my prayer is that, and I hope and pray that somebody else won't be standing in my shoes pleading to the council about, let's get something done on that road. Thank you, and bless you guys.
Well, we're sorry to hear about that, Mr.
Yes.
Oliver. Have you been to the county? Are you going to the county? I know that's
I
the
will
county
be.
road in there, but
Yeah,
I go by there quite a bit. I go visit a friend over there, and that's where they cut into that, by that lake.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, I know the people come out of there and go in a lot, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of people traveling through there.
yes, yes.
So, yeah, and I would go sit and make sure I met with the county commissioner and the county.
Yes,
That's their road, and they need to do something there with some signs, something,
Yes.
warning
Yes.
lights.
yes. And
I can't tell you enough how sorry it is, but couldn't
Yeah.
ever express the sadness it is.
Yeah. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Oliver, on just being there, and the great words, the awesome words that he shared with me and my family
Right.
through our time of bereavement. And I salute you, and I thank God for you on your awesome words and just caring, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
I would like to say thank you for coming out. I did invite Pastor Oliver to come out to address the council. And I know most of you are probably thinking, well, this happened in Orlando and not in Ocoee. And actually, this stretch of road that this happened at, this corner, was less than half a mile away from the city limits of Ocoee. And if you cross those railroad tracks, you'll end up at Clark and Claricone-Ocoee Road, which is a very dangerous intersection. This is something we've been talking about for months now. And I would hate for this tragedy to repeat in our city at Clark Road and Claricone-Ocoee, because we don't have a left turn signal there. And I would hate for this to repeat less than probably 300 yards or a quarter mile up the road at Ingram and Claricone-Ocoee, which we have approval for a light, but we've been told it's going to be pushed back into the fall of this year. And this could easily have been a tragedy in our city. It could have easily been any one of those intersections, because it was just a stone's throw away. So I'm asking that, that we as the city of Ocoee, the leadership, staff, that we would actually put pressure on the county to expedite the light on Ingham Road, to expedite that left turn signal on Clark Road and Claricone-Ocoee. If we need to send letters, whatever we need to do, I'm asking right now, what can we do as elected officials and leadership in the city of Ocoee to expedite these things, to basically reach out to the county on behalf of citizens of Ocoee and say, these things need to be expedited. And again, my heart goes out to Pastor Oliver for his loss. But again, as I've stated many, many times before, it would break my heart to wake up one morning and to find out this same thing happened at Ingham Road. And we've been crying about this and screaming about this for months. And the same thing happened at Clark Road and Claricone-Ocoee Road. It would break my heart for one of our children to be lost. Just one. That's all it takes. So whatever we need to do, I'm just praying that we would take some kind of action as city leadership in the city of Ocoee to get some letters out and bring more awareness to the speeding on Claricone-Ocoee Road from the 429 all the way to 441. It is really, really horrible. So whatever we need to do for us, our city is concerned, and what our responsibility is to our citizens, please, 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 let's do whatever we have to do.
If I may, I don't know if he left. Pastor Oliver and the two gentlemen who spoke, Mr. Marion and Mr. Scott, normally I'm the guy behind the scenes, but I'm going to be more vocal on this issue because as Commissioner Oliver said, and I think as most people here know, that Claricone-Ocoee turns into West Road, and so it is a artery that goes not only through Ocoee in Orlando, but goes even further. So I'm gonna reach out to the county and reach out to Orlando Police Department, because some of this is a matter of enforcement of traffic laws, but some of it's a matter of awareness by the drivers who are driving these vehicles. So I think having a campaign launched to bring public awareness to speed, and I know I've said it many times regarding drivers in our roads, to be careful and be patient, but to have a family lose 5 members all at once is something that's beyond my comprehension. So I will make that commitment, not only to Pastor Oliver, but also to our residents, as well as the residents of the city of Orlando and Orange County, to see what can be done, and whatever solutions that we can do, hopefully we'll be able to get those in place as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right. The consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Wilson.
Can I just say something in between? 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I noticed that on the 2 boards, it's mostly heavy with other districts besides District 2 and District 3. And I just hope that we can entice some residents in those districts to please join these boards. I like to see an even balance within the district so that our boards represent all of Ocoee and not just maybe 2 districts. So again, I'm happy that folks have come forward, but I just want to make mention that to us. Thank you.
All right. Do I have no more comment? Do I hear? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. We have no public hearing. We have no first reading of ordinances, no second reading of ordinance. Regular agenda, none. Staff action items anymore?
Nothing, sir.
Comments from the citizens? Again, anybody on anything that was on the agenda? We did the earlier one for people that wasn't on the agenda. This is for the agenda. All right. Comments from the commissioners. Commissioner Brinson.
First and foremost, I would like to congratulate the 2 winners of their contest, Commissioner Rosemary Wilson and Commissioner George Oliver, for retaining their seats here on the commission. Hard-fought race, and I think it's appropriate for me to congratulate the both of those commissioners on that. Other than that, again, and I said this earlier, but we have a lot of construction going on in the city. I've seen near misses on Ocoee Apopka as well as on Silver Star just today, with people trying to be in a rush, trying to get to wherever they're going. I would encourage and I would urge, I would implore you to slow down just a little bit. It's not that important. The other piece is cell phones. It is not appropriate to be driving with your cell phone in your hand at the same time. It is kind of like driving and sleeping. They don't go together. And so I would encourage people also to put their cell phones down because it is causing more accidents than it needs to. And then other than that, again, we're still in Women's History Month, so we're going to honor the women throughout history that have made so many contributions to civilization. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yeah. I think I'm going to add on to what Commissioner Brinson said. During this last election, I stood out on Clark Road, stood out on Montgomery, White Road. I've stood on all of them, and I have to tell you that I agree. These drivers, it's unbelievable. I mean, the phones in the hands, eating, waving while they're eating and holding phones, and I just feel that, as looking at that, we really need to be conscious of when we're driving this vehicle, because the damage it can do, we just heard. The damage it can do to our community, to our families, is we ask you just to slow down. It doesn't hurt. The speed limit's 30, go 30. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've probably made many mistakes myself, but it's something we need to be very mindful of. You can wait and make a phone call when you get home. So it's very simple, but I'd just like to let everyone know that I'm so pleased to be back serving District 2, and I have to thank my #1 fans, my family. They're not here yet, but they went out there and waved signs with me and got up early every morning and stayed late every night and had to listen to me for 6 weeks. So I couldn't say thank you to them enough, and I can't say thank you enough to our residents. We had a great turnout. I was so happy to see so many folks come down, and I want you to know that it's not just during election time, but we're available. And I'll speak for, I think, everyone here. We're available to talk to you. Please call when you have concerns or issues. We are basically where the rubber meets the road. When you have a pothole in front of your house, you call us. When you have issues that you're dealing with in your neighborhood, you call us. And again, I want to hear from my residents. That's why I'm here. So, and thank you very much, and thank you to District 2 for your outstanding support and voting. Thank you.
Commissioner Ferstner.
Yes, congratulations both Commissioner Oliver and Commissioner Wilson on their successful campaign and re-election. And just tag on to that traffic information, remember, it's spring break. A lot more cars on the road, a lot more people are out there, kids are out on the road. Slow down. You don't have to get there that fast. Be careful and, pay attention to your surroundings. I have a question for Mr. Frank. This American Rescue Plan or community project funding, whatever name they're going by, City of Ocoee stands to get some money out of that. Do we have a list of priority projects, and have we been working on those?
We don't have a list of priority projects, Commissioner, and we've not, to my knowledge, been officially noticed of any funding that we're getting. I read a lot of different interpretations of how much money and what size city you have to get that money. But I can assure you, if we do get something, we would bring a prioritized list forward to the commission for funding some of those things we've been waiting on for several years.
Great, yeah. Right now, it's so nebulous. No one really
Yeah.
knows exactly how much is coming and what it's going to be used for or designated for. But regardless, if we get anything, it's a nice windfall.
Yeah, I understand you can't use it to fill budget gaps for things that, you've already budgeted for and those types of things, but I'm sure the need, there's many things out there we could spend that money on. I'm just looking forward to find out if that does happen and how much we're going to get.
Are we running any deficits at all right now due to the COVID, the response to it?
No, we've looked a couple of times so far during the past year over the revenues. We've seen, one of the big ones, believe it or not, are the red light camera fines have decreased significantly, around 40%. And not quite sure why yet, but it looks like people are catching on. So, that was the purpose we put those in the first place, was to change behavior. But we're seeing a big reduction in that, and it may have been partly due to the big downturn in traffic for the first half of last year. There was a lot less cars on the road, cars on our street. There were some revenue sharing, some sales tax reductions in the beginning of the year, made up for by other things people were buying, deli at the grocery store and that type of thing. So there were some categories that were depressed, some of them not so much that we wouldn't be able to make up for it in other ways. There were expenses with PPE and some overtime expenses as we were covering for illnesses and police and fire and some of the other departments for absences for COVID, 10 and 14-day, originally it was 14-day quarantines. So that required us to do some overtime shifts and, either 12 or 24 hours in the public safety departments. But it's nothing we can't handle. It's not really a cost that we had anticipated at the beginning of last year. So any reimbursement for those would be good. But our fiscal situation is fluid enough to handle those.
That's great. I'm glad to see that city has, come through this mess.
Yes.
And we've come through with our head above water. It would be nice to be able to pass some of this money back to the community, to the businesses that have suffered, to some of the organizations that have spent money out of their pocket, to cope with this COVID and everything. So it'll be interesting to see what the priority list turns out.
And as soon as I get that number, I will share it with all of you. I'm sure you all have some ideas as to what we can do with that, too.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Commissioner Oliver.
I have lots of ideas. You can spend that money on. Well, I attended a meeting, a virtual meeting this morning with the Orange County Community Traffic Safety Team, which they meet once a month, and they discuss issues of speed devices, speeding programs, dangerous highways, crashes, fatalities. They do this once a month, and that was a topic. The issue on Claricone-Ocoee Road was a topic of discussion earlier today in that meeting. So they're actually going to start a study along Claricone-Ocoee Road, and there's a couple other roads within the county that they're going to look at, and they're going to look at crashes, fatalities, and they're going to make a determination as to which are the most dangerous ones and which needs to be have more attention than others. So I guess they're going to create some type of a priority list of roads that they need to look at to put in speeding and traffic control devices. So that was a very productive meeting, and I will continue to attend those meetings every month to get more information and updates as information unfolds. I've also been in contact with our county commissioner, Commissioner Christine Moore. I have a meeting scheduled with her within the next few weeks. I've also been in contact with the Orange County Sheriff, Orange County Mayor's Office, which I'm waiting on a reply back to schedule a meeting with them to talk about this same issue, so we can actually get some things moving along Claricone-Ocoee Road and possibly expediting the light at the corner of Ingham Road and Claricone-Ocoee Road. So that's actually in the works. I've also been doing some research. I've contacted the state concerning numbers concerning COVID. We have a new strand, a UK strand. Right now, we went over 700. There's 700 cases in the state of Florida, and the number's growing. And of course, we know we're right in the middle of spring break right now, and those numbers are due to probably double or triple as a result of spring break and the activities going on in the state of Florida, all over the state of Florida. I know that we've come up with an idea. We want to do a gospel festival sometime in May. I'm actually going to, my concern is that those numbers may not be down enough in May, and we may not have enough folks vaccinated in May, for COVID. So I'm going to ask that we probably look at maybe pushing it back a little bit so that we kind of make sure that we are in the clear, so we have folks that can come out and we can protect our citizens and those that come to that event from COVID. I do fear that, and one of the trends, projected trends throughout the United States is that they're stating that it's a possibility that whenever municipalities or large organizations have these gatherings and folks end up with COVID, someone dies, there's a possibility of lawsuits. And that's what's coming on the tail end of COVID right now. I just don't want Ocoee to be the first one to say we're being sued for whatever. But nonetheless, I think we all agree that we want to have this gospel festival. I think we agree that it's going to bring our city closer, bring us together. But I just would like to get a consensus from the commission, or at least some comment, to find out if we can possibly shift it back a little bit beyond spring break, beyond May, maybe June or July, to have this event, and just in the interest of safety for our public safety from COVID. I'm not done. I'm asking for a consensus. I'm asking for your input to see what are we actually thinking along those lines when we talk about COVID.
After I had the meeting and we got the consensus, I went ahead and did the things. We already got them signed up, 29th of May. We will make it COVID safe. We already signed it.
Okay. All right,
CC Wynum is the last one to sign. She's the last one, so we already did that. We already said when we do it, it will be done in boxes separated, just like they did at the other organizations when they do it. It'll be spread out, marked off on the grass where they're plenty safe and meet the COVID standards.
Okay.
It's not gonna be like the, music festival of the other thing. This is gonna be more of a spread out, box laid out on the grass.
So it'll be laid out that way. So we'll get more details as we
But it's
move forward.
March the 29th.
I'm sorry?
It's March the 29th. So it's
You
pretty
mean
close
May?
to June.
May,
This coming May,
May 29th, okay.
May the 29th.
May 29th. Okay, so again, that's just my concern. I'm just hoping and praying that those numbers will start to go down, they'll plateau to go down prior to that event. Also, I'm also looking at this event as something that the city is sponsoring. So therefore, I'm asking the other commissioners that we should also get involved in helping with the planning and maybe raising money and doing whatever needs to be done to help with this event as well. I know, Mayor, you're putting in some work to make this happen, but I also think that we, as the rest of the commission, if we're going to go ahead and move forward with this event, I think that we all should have a hand in it as far as helping you out in any way, bringing in money, sponsors, whatever we need to bring to help you with this event, so that way it'll be a successful event, but also, more importantly, it will be a safe event.
Well, you'd be glad to raise all the money you can raise.
Well, I'll be more than happy to help out with.
That's always a thing that's said, but nobody ever raises any. So I'd be glad to see that.
I'll be more than happy to help out with that
We're-
event. And
It's set up, the city, it's not gonna be anywhere like the regular festival. This is just more of a small thing, just to get people together for the, come together for what you preach is unity. So that's what we're trying to do with this thing. So it's the staff would be working on it. The parks people are working on it. So anybody that wants to raise money, we'd be glad to have you raise it.
I'll get with Parks and see whatever gaps I can fill, whatever gaps that needs to be filled, and help out with that, and hope the other commissioners will join in and help us as well. Also, I need to see about Mr. Frank about getting a letter to the county concerning lights on McCormick Road. I know it's a county road, and I need to see if we can get a formal letter, at least get the ball rolling, or get the conversation started on getting lights on McCormick Road. It is just pitch black there. And it's scary. It's street lights, yeah. Street lights. So that'd be a county thing, but I would love to at least get some.
We can start the discussion with them. I think what they're going to do is, as seeing as how on the south side, there's Ocoee. On the north side, there's unincorporated, and there's Apopka. I pretty much can tell you what their answer is going to be, and we'll probably, if we can move something like that forward, it's probably would be the two cities and the county trying to designate over a certain stretch. You're probably interested in the section in the city, I assume, but that section in the city also includes county and Apopka on the north side. So we could definitely start the dialogue. Because there's three jurisdictions there, that's a good example where Christine Moore could possibly help. You know, if they've got that on their radar for one of their capital projects, I think with their understanding that Ocoee and Apopka are probably going to annex on both sides of those roads, I don't think they're going to want to put too much capital into it.
The subdivisions along McCormick Road, on the south side of McCormick Road, which we have we've got D.R. Horton on, it's coming up closer toward Apopka Vineland. Then we have, there's Kensington Manor, and there's also McCormick Reserve. The builders had no responsibility in putting any lights out along the road, just the sidewalk, that was the only responsibility that they had?
I doubt that they required it when those were put in. I don't know if we could tell you it right now, tonight, Commissioner. We could always actually look at the developer agreements. It probably would have been, if it were a city road at the time, we may have included those requirements, but they would have needed to get access from the county, being that that's a county road. So I doubt if there's no streetlights there now. There might be something in the developer agreement with the county that at some point in the future, or they may have escrow dollars for that, but I doubt it. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the county wasn't big on requiring them to do light infrastructure improvements when they're building their subdivisions.
Gotcha. So it sounds like maybe a conversation we need to have with with maybe our county commissioner and
Yeah, I
and the
mean,
city of
if-
Apopka maybe
if
to see
she's
what we can
interested in
come up
moving
with.
something forward, at least if we could get them to pay for a third of it, you
How do
know.
we start the conversation? Maybe just a letter to all parties, interested parties?
Or, I mean, we have contact with her every so often. We could contact her, or if you did, just to get that, you know, on her radar, that's something that we'd be looking for. We don't ask for too much from them. Traffic light here and there, some street lights. We're still not that successful, but I think that one would be, you know, maybe for her to mark a win in her court. If we keep asking for certain things, that's a lot less expensive than a traffic signal with 4 mast arms too, so it could be
This was something that Duke
successful.
Energy would probably, they would install, Duke Energy would do the installation?
Yeah,
whereas
I mean,
the
alls it
county
is
cities would
getting a
actually pay
check.
for it?
You know, we've done it before down on Roberson Road where we've had county, a section of the county on the south side. We just did the project and the county sent us a check for their 20% and, but the power company does everything.
Okay. All right, well, let's circle back and let's really get some meat to that conversation.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Also, I did find out there's, for those folks that call, I get the calls about every week, 2 or 3 times a week about trash. There will be some information going out in your April bill that will give you more information about our yard waste and our trash pickup schedules and what we pick up. So that information should be available in your April bills. And I did get I got a glimpse of what they look like, and it's very comprehensive. It's a little cartoon, and it looks really, really well. And I think that it's going to educate the citizens as
Yeah.
to what they can put out and what they can't.
Those types of things will be included, Commissioner. The big thing right now was the rules for bulk, I think we wanted to concentrate on.
Yeah.
The others talk about household hazardous waste, it talks about recycling. So depending on, when we get the final numbers, we're asked for numbers on how much it's going to be for different sizes, and we
Yeah.
want to probably maximize that several times over the year. So if we have to do, you know, bulk waste on this one, we can do hazardous waste on the next one, and then the one after that, we could do, you know, how to use your recycling can properly. We may be able to fit all of them on one, but we're just looking at pricing. The commission instructed us to do several a year, so we just want to look at our funding for that. And that was the other thing we looked at too. I'm glad you brought that up. If we could have a couple of $1,000s from contingency, we don't really have any designated account that has dollars in it that we could use for that. So
That's something we can get a consensus on tonight?
yeah, that was something that kind of delayed us moving forward. We still went ahead to get estimates on how much it would be for each stuffing in the utility bills, but there was no designated funding for that, and I don't recall asking for any dollars from the contingency budget at the time. I think, you know, maybe to get us started, if we could do $2,500 from contingency, we'd have enough to at least get the first round going.
How much do we have in contingency right now?
I think we
It's around 40-something thousand.
it's in the 40s. We had 50, and we've hardly used any from it so far.
Well, I have no problem with that. If the rest of the commission would agree to that, I think it would be a great idea to get the ball rolling on educating our citizens about our trash pickup.
You say you have a problem with that, or you don't have a problem?
No, I said I have no problem with that.
Okay.
No, I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Oh, I have no problem with it either. Do we need a motion or just consensus?
All right, a consensus would be fine, I think. We just use the
Yeah, no
minutes.
problem. I'm on board with it down here. District 1 is.
I'm good. Consensus is good.
Okay.
I don't know if the problem you got is, no matter how many times we do that, it's still not going to stop it. People don't listen to the things when we tell them. How many times we tell them? We send the letters
Right,
out.
I know.
Staff Public Works sends it out. Our citizens has got to take and adhere to those rules, and that's the problem. You know, they don't do it. So we can keep sending out the papers, but it just doesn't happen. So let's hope. You know,
Well,
we'll send it again.
Hopefully we'll
but
see
it's
some
been
difference,
Sent
yeah.
and sent and called. And our staff does call them and tell them when they get the notification that what the problem was and that.
Yeah, I usually get copied on them too, Mayor, and I think what we're seeing is, you know, they're resigned once we tell them. They understand. It's usually after the first time it doesn't happen again. It's the first time. It's first time they've put out a large load since we've had the contractor in here, because like I said before, the city would have picked it all up. Once you tell them, you refer them to the proper part of the code, they see it and they understand.
That's what I usually get. Once I speak to them and I give them information as to what they can and cannot do, they're usually pretty okay with it once they get the information. So I think that once the information's out there and we're educating the citizens, I believe that we'll get a better response as to what they can and cannot do. So it may probably cut down a lot of phone calls and emails concerning yard waste and trash pickup. Also, during this election cycle, I want to say that it was, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun during the election cycle here, during the campaign trail. I was able to meet a lot of folks, establish a lot of relationships with folks. Some folks I was able to reacquaint myself with them as we were out traveling the district and standing on the corners every day in the rain or in the heat. So it's been actually So it's actually been a great time out there, and I want to thank my family. I want to thank my team. The Go team is out here, so you guys, again, just take a bow. You did a great job. You're out there with me every day, and most important, I want to thank the citizens that came out and voted. Again, one of the things we talked about was those numbers, the numbers being so low in past elections, 6 to 8%. And this time, I believe in both races, we got up to above 15%, which is actually good for our city, and that's a great thing. So now we just need to keep it going, keep it moving, and keep those numbers moving up, those percentages, and start looking for 20 and 25% turnout. And I think it will actually encourage folks to get out and get involved. Not only get involved, but get engaged with what goes on in the city, and also voting and understand that voting is power. So now, before I leave you, I will leave you with this. As a city, we cannot discover new oceans if we don't have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Thank you.
Well, we run over, so we're going to keep running over. We won't do the thing at 7 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and talk a little more. Not Commissioner, but Assistant City Manager, will you come up to the podium? I see Mr. Dawes is here, and I don't know if he's here about the property, but can you explain to what's going on about the property? Craig. I know there's supposed to be an appraisal tomorrow.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the commission. Sir, you're referring to the property adjacent to the cemetery, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The last update I got was that the appraiser, which the commission directed us to obtain an appraisal and move forward. It was executed very shortly after that commission meeting. My understanding is the appraiser met with the family today out at the property, which was one of the last items to be done prior to finalizing the appraisal, and staff is intending to bring that back to the next commission meeting, provided that we have the appraisal in hand.
All right, did you understand that, Mr. Dawes? Did you understand what he said? All right, when he gets, I'll have him talk to you when we get through. All right. The other thing is, we're talking about the safety parts. We got enough places in the city. If you go up on Worst Road, up there where the stores are at, I talked to one of the police officers the other day. They come through there doing about 70 miles an hour through the Worst Road, through that through that place going across the railroad tracks. Looks like a racetrack. So we need to look at all our streets and do a little something about that. We also had another lady that was killed here in town. She died the other day. It was in coma for a week and a half. It was on the 408 that was hit by a drunk driver. So that's, she's been living here all her life. She was killed this past week and a half ago. So it happens everywhere because people are neglectful in the driving, or this was a drunk driver. So it's not, and it's terrible to happen, but it happens. So we need to all be careful and look out for our safety. I don't understand people that look at their phone and try to text when they're driving. I see a lot of it, but the law says you can't do it, but they seem to do it anyway. The other thing is getting the road, the road starting on the south side of town. So that's the thing we did tonight for the presentation of the, to the award. That means we get to start, right, Craig?
That means that the engineering work will begin for South Blueford?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, so that's, we need to put that out on our news channel, and let people know what's gonna be happening, where the road's gonna be, closed up and anything like that. So we need to put that out. The other thing is the Little League fields. If you go up and look, you can see that the Little League fields are some of the best in the area. Our teams are, our city staff does that, and they do an excellent job. So we want to make sure they understand we think that, because our young kids are up playing, and the football field with the Ocoee Pop Warner thing. So in the process, we want to make sure everybody understands and knows that our staff is the one putting the time and the effort into that. So do we get this, we need to adjourn this meeting?
We should, unless you're ready to wrap it up.
All right, so we were supposed to do it at 7, but like I said, we run over. So the congratulations to both commissioners in their election. It's a tough thing running for office. It's always tough, but you get a good feeling when you win. So that's what matters. And you work for the citizens, and that's what matters. So we're gonna adjourn this meeting and have the swearing in of the new commissioners. Now, I